Newsweek is reporting on a really wild, eye-opening story about law enforcement. Check this out. An Oklahoma police chief plans to resign after being accused of links to neo-Nazi websites. Reserve Officer Bart Alsbrook was appointed temporary police chief in the town of Colbert near the Texan border Tuesday. Texas-based broadcast news network KX11, Channel 12, had probed local racist groups identified in a hate map by the nonprofit civil rights group the Southern Poverty Law Center. White supremacist organizations in the U.S. have come under renewed scrutiny in recent weeks following the deadly Charlottesville rally in which an anti-racism protester was killed. The network found that Alsbrook's name was on ownership records for two neo-Nazi websites, ISD Records and NS88 Videos. The group sell Nazi and Confederate memorabilia and neo-Nazi music by bands including the Klansmen, with album titles including Hitler Was Right. This guy was a fucking police chief. Now, this reminded me of a story that we covered, I think, about 2 years back now. But this problem hasn't gone away. It's people in the Klan who have various positions in law enforcement. So you go to some deep red states with Alabama, whatever it may be, Mississippi, and you do some investigative research on the people who have these positions. Oftentimes, prison guards are Klan members. You know, I think that's a little bit of a problem. I think if you have neo-Nazi police chiefs, they're not going to do their job properly. Yeah, justice is blind. You know, we uphold law and order. Well, apparently not. If you are a neo-Nazi, you don't believe in equal rights, and you don't believe in justice for minorities. You don't believe in it for Jews. You don't believe in it for blacks. You don't believe in it for Latinos. So this guy was a fucking police chief. We have KKK people who are prison guards across the country. This is a little bit of a systemic problem. Now, this isn't to malign all police officers, of course not. But this is to say we got a fucking clean house, man. Now, this guy appears like he's about to resign, but how, again, I need you to reflect on this. In 2017, we're talking about neo-Nazis that are police chiefs. That undermines trust in the system across the board. Rightly so, because who would trust that? Imagine you're somebody who's a minority living in one of these places, and you learn about this. Now, by the way, again, this shows how naive somebody like me is, because I'm stunned by this, but I imagine if you talk to a lot of people who live in places where they feel like there's a police occupation, they're like, yeah, yeah, of course. Because they've experienced it. They've experienced, being treated like utter garbage from officers, people who are supposed to be upholding the law, and they can figure out, hey, something's off here. This guy seems to not like me simply because of who I am, not because of anything I did or didn't do. So this is pathetic, man. And we need to, it sounds easy to say, but obviously it's hard to execute. We need to get rid of all the bad officers so that there's good officers left, and then you build a trust in the system, and you have you create a system of policing that works. There's a lot of reforms that can be done to how we police in America that would increase trust of police departments across the country. And it'd be a lot better to have that than to have a us versus them mentality. The community should feel like police officers are part of the community and shouldn't feel like they're these disconnected, detached people who lord above them and have insane ideologies that view them as lesser people. So, and Campaign Zero comes up with a lot of great answers on this. If you go read the policy proposals from Campaign Zero, almost all of them are great, where they talk about how you demilitarize the police, you focus on de-escalation tactics in the training, you have civilian review boards and whatnot. So there are ways to change policing for the better. But step number one is maybe fire all the fucking neo-Nazis and KKK people who have positions of authority.